This is Mac OS Ken.
Praise for Apple's people prowess, praise for Apple's bottom line, and CarPlay is catching an Uber. It is Monday, the 13th of February, 2023. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSKen. How did Apple avoid firing people? By not hiring too many people. That is the basic take of a Bloomberg report. We heard something similar a few weeks back from TechCrunch. From 2020 to 2021, that site had Apple hiring 17,000 new people. Meanwhile, Meta hired 27,000 over the same time period, Alphabet hired 52,000, Microsoft hired 58,000 people, and Amazon hired a brain-breaking 800,000 people. Not a lot new in the Bloomberg piece, more just singing the praises of Apple's management acumen. Compared to other big tech players, Bloomberg says Apple was more cautious. Its headcount increased just 20% from 2020 to 2022, compared with a 60% gain at Alphabet and a near doubling at Amazon. These two companies went on to announce layoffs of roughly 30,000 combined. Not to be too Pollyanna, but I would point out what I did a couple of weeks ago. Alphabet added 52,000 people. Amazon added 800,000 people. Combined, they have cut 30,000 people. That is still a gain of roughly 822,000 jobs from just those two companies since 2020. And again, I will acknowledge that does not make anything any better for the tens of thousands of people who have recently lost their positions throughout the tech layoffs. In praise of the Cupertino company, Peter Garnry of Saxo Bank AS is quoted as saying, "The prudent hiring and lack of firing signals a better quality of management at Apple compared to other technology companies that clearly read the signals during the pandemic the wrong way." Of course, it's not just about the number of workers, but also what they're working on. The company also generates some of the highest sales per square foot, according to Bloomberg, an indication that its efficiency goes beyond hiring policies. The piece also has Credit Suisse analyst Shannon Cross saying, Apple is frugal by nature. It comes down to the management's stewardship of shareholder dollars and a tight focus on what growth opportunities to invest in. Supporting the stewardship of Apple management, a piece from Investopedia has tagged Apple as the most profitable company in the world, though that does come with an asterisk. Writing for the site, Matthew Johnston says, "The list of the world's most profitable companies offers a glimpse of which countries wield the most economic power and the sectors with the most economic influence. The countries, by Johnston's account, are the U.S. and China. As for the sectors, financial services firms win the day in his estimation, though tech and energy firms are also well-placed. By Johnston's metrics, Apple tops them all. He's got the Cupertino company showing revenue of $394 billion for the last 12 months, net income of $99.8 billion, and a market cap of $2.08 trillion. Running down the rest of the list, Microsoft is second, Alphabet is third, Industrial and Commercial Bank of China is fourth, ExxonMobil is fifth, China Construction Bank is sixth, Shell is seventh, Agricultural Bank of China is eighth, JP Morgan Chase comes in at number 9, and Bank of China Limited rounds out the top 10. As for the aforementioned asterisk, you may be wondering where Saudi Aramco is. Well, it's less about where it is than where it isn't. Johnston says his list only includes companies found on U.S. or Canadian exchanges, either directly or through ADRs. Saudi Aramco lists on the Saudi Stock Exchange. Were it on a U.S. or Canadian exchange, Johnston said it would have been in the most recent top 10 and would have topped the list in years past. Big with the big money types, and big in the minds of consumers is Apple. That is the message from Evercore analyst Amit Daryanani. Apple 3.0 ran part of a note he wrote over the weekend. In it, Ad Rock said interest in Apple products has seen an upward trend among consumers since last August. By the analyst's reckoning, iPhone still owns the smartphone space, though it is followed closely by the Samsung Galaxy line, according to Daryanani. His take on computers is confusing. While Macs remain top of mind for consumers with regards to net purchase intent, Daryanani says consumers are rating Acer and HPQ as relatively more attractive products, driven by heavier discounting by these vendors. Sounds like a mishmash, though the analyst sees it as all good for Apple. Quoting his note, Apple product lineup. Over the past few months, net purchase intent for Apple lineup has meaningfully jumped and returned closer to the levels seen at the start of 2022. Product-wise, the rally is led by the iPhone, Macs, and AirPods in that order. Daryanani has an outperform rating on Apple shares. His price target on the shares is $190. You know what I haven't thought about in a really long time? Uber. Pre-pandemic, I was grabbing an Uber all the time. In the past 3 years, I have been in 2 of them. So out of mind has it been for me that I was amazed to see it turn up in news about Apple. But turn up it has. 9 to 5 Mac ran a piece late last week saying that the Uber app for drivers will soon support CarPlay. Or CarPlay will support it, however that works. As it stands right now, Uber drivers have to use their smartphones to accept rides, check maps, and all that stuff. Once CarPlay support arrives, the piece says drivers will have access to these same features right in their dash. It's unclear when the update will roll out. While Uber has apparently told partners it will be coming soon, there's no word on exactly when support will arrive. Apple TV Plus may have another hit on its hands. Cult of Mac says the Jason Segel, Harrison Ford comedy Shrinking is pulling in serious, if anecdotal, numbers. Over the past 2 weeks, the piece says the show has shown in 5th place, then 3rd place with the movie and TV search service Just Watch. Meanwhile, the streaming tracker Real Good had the show showing at 6th place week before last, moving up to 5th place last week. And finally today, though he's been king for a bit now, the official coronation for Charles III is not for a few months. Good news, though. They've got a logo. And when you're talking royalty, you go to the best. Apple Insider says Sir Jony Ive has worked up a logo for King Charles' big day. It is both simple and ornate, if that's possible. Flowers from the 4 nations that make up the United Kingdom wind around the stylized representation of St. Edward's crown. It sounds garish, though the limited color palette, blue, red, white, bring the simplicity. Commenting on the design, Sir Jony said, "It is such an honor to be able to contribute to this remarkable national occasion, and our team is so very proud of this work. The design was inspired by King Charles' love of the planet, nature, and his deep concern for the natural world. The emblem speaks to the happy optimism of spring and celebrates the beginning of this new Carolean era for the United Kingdom. The gentle modesty of these natural forms combine to define an emblem that acknowledges both the joyful and profound importance of this occasion." Now let's get that on lunchboxes, t-shirts, bumper stickers, balloons maybe. Actually, I would love it on a mug, if anybody in the UK is listening. Plenty of time. The new king will not be officially crowned until May. Today on the Mac Observer's Daily Observations podcast, TMO Managing Editor Jeff Butts and I reach into the mailbag for thoughts on AI and Apple without a chief design officer. Come for the talking. Stay for the rest of the talking. It's the Daily Observations podcast from the Mac Observer, online at macobserver.com or wherever you get podcasts. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.